Hi everyone, Hailey here. I am the creative weirdo behind the Foiled Plan. I am so excited to be taking over Auntie Tay's YouTube channel again today. If you aren't already, make sure you're subscribed to Auntie Tay's channel and turn that notification bell on so you are notified every time she uploads a new video. Now, if you're unfamiliar with who I am, I do a lot of crafting tutorials, foil printing, dollar store DIYs, tech talk videos, and lots of other fun things. So if you would like to hang out with me a little bit more, make sure you head over to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. The details will be in the description box below. Anyways, let's get into the tutorial. Okay, I cannot be the only one that constantly has a messy hand towel hanging from their oven in their kitchen. Mine seems to always look askew or messy and it drives me nuts. So we needed to come up with a solution to keep our hand towels in place. You may have seen something like this before, but today I'm going to show you how to make this DIY pot holder hand towel. Let's get started. Most of the products we're using today are from the Dollar Tree, like this hand towel, these pot holders, package of thread spools, this little sewing kit, and this button. Other things that we'll need include a heat source. I'm pointing at my Cricut Easy Press, but I ended up actually using my iron. You'll also need your Cricut, some form of electronic that you like to use in order to download your SVGs, as well as your favorite HTV iron-on. I like to keep mine stored in this scrapbook here. You're also going to need various Cricut tools like the weeding tool and standard grip cutting mat. I also like to use a brayer so that I can make sure my HTV is securely attached, a pair of scissors to cut my HTV, as well as a ruler, just to measure my pot holder to make sure I'm making my design the right size. Alright, so now that we've got all our supplies together, the first thing you're going to want to do is remove the tags from the pot holder and the towel. These pot holders actually came in a package of 2, so I just set the second one aside and I'll use that for a different project. Now I just make sure that the towel that I've folded in half is lined up with the center of the pot holder, and it actually worked out really well because there's like a line in the pattern of the towel that was like the exact center part of where the pot holder was going to be, so I knew I just needed to follow that line and I would be good to go. So now I'm just threading my needle, putting a little knot in the end of the thread, and then beginning the hand sewing process. Now you can definitely use a sewing machine if you have one. I do not have one. I don't know that I trust myself with one, so I'm just hand sewing it. I'm not the most talented seamstress in the world. Sewing is something that I'd really like to learn how to do one day, but for now I'll just stick to good old needle and thread. Now, I did go across the whole line and then came back the other way and went over top of the same section that I just did, just to kind of reinforce it because, like I said, not that talented when it comes to sewing, so yeah. Anyways, okay, so that part's done. So now I can fold the pot holder in half and then take that little loopy thing and kind of fold it down around just so I can see exactly where the button needs to sit to line up properly with that. And then I am good to go with sewing on that button. Once that was sewed on, I just kind of looped that little piece over to make sure everything lined up perfectly, and it did. So it was time to move on to adding the HTV. Alright, so I've just grabbed my iPad here and then I'm opening up auntietay.com. I click on SVGs so I can see all of the SVGs and cut files. And I'm just scrolling down to the seasonal folder, and once I click that, then I'm clicking on the fall option just because, you know, it's fall and I figured the colors in the towel and the pot holder kind of scream fall to me. So I looked through all of her options. She's got some really cute leaves on there, and I ended up clicking on the first option, and then I downloaded that into my files folder in my iCloud. And then once I had that finished, I opened up Cricut Design Space and I imported that design from my iCloud account. Then I ungrouped the image so that I could get rid of the leaves that I didn't want. I wanted to be left with 3, and originally I was going to go with 3 different options, and then just to keep it simple, I ended up making them all the exact same. And then I made my measurement adjustments, and my whole design ended up being 6 inches wide and 2 inches tall. That was like perfect for that particular pot holder. Just make sure you measure yours because it might be slightly different than mine. I also ended up attaching all of the leaves together, so not only would they cut in the right spot side by side, but they would also be all the exact same color. I thought originally maybe I would do all different colors, but then I thought less is more, keep it simple, and I made them all the same. Now I did have the mirror setting turned on even though there's no words. It's just force of habit for me. And then it was time to pick the color of HTV I wanted to use. Now I ended up going with a really nice cream color. It's a Caesar Easy Weed, and you can actually find it on shopauntietay.com. Feel free to use my code TheFoiledPlan for 10% off. And then I just flipped my HTV sheet over so the shiny side was down, threw my brayer across the room, and then I secured the HTV to the mat with it. Then we're good to load the mat into the machine and press the cut button. Now, once it's done cutting, I unload the mat and I flip the mat upside down and I peel the mat away from the HTV. Then I cut out just the section that has my design on it so I can still use the rest of the HTV later, and I lay it back down on the cutting mat so I can weed the design. It just makes that whole process a lot easier. Now I'm grabbing my design and placing it on top of the pot holder exactly where I want it to be. Now I've got my iron and I'm going to plug it in so it can heat up. And I'm taking my Easy Press mat. Feel free to use a towel, just something to protect your workstation underneath while you're applying the heat. Now when you're doing this with an iron, just make sure that you're applying enough pressure and that you're letting the heat get to every single part of the design. Once you're confident that it's stuck down, just wait a little bit for the material to cool down slightly. This is a warm peel material, not a cold peel, so it doesn't have to be completely cooled down. But once it's ready, just carefully peel that sheet back and voila! You've got yourself a customized DIY pot holder towel. So cute. Well, I just want to say a great big thank you to Tania for letting me take over your channel, and thank you guys, the viewers, for being so welcoming. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial and found it helpful. I'm excited to share things with you guys in the future, and that's all I'm gonna say. Bye!